Okay, Neil, we're live now. Hello and welcome to the Legends of Tabletop podcast. We're getting ready to jump into our Cthulhu Invictus game. This session is our beloved Bronwin. Our last session, it was kind of a shit show, to be honest. I don't know. We went into the forest to go and try to find the stones, see if we could find out who was plaguing the village. As we entered deeper into the woods, we were confronted by the undead stag. Undead being the key word, the players not being smart enough to figure out that undead kind of equates to zombie, sort of. So we beat on it for a while. I tried riding it a little bit, got thrown, was infected. I think a couple of us got infected. Malachi, I think, also was gored again. But Vodamos figured it out, hit it in the head, killed it because it was a fucking zombie. So we went further in. Some really good rolls allowed us to take down the threat, which was a insane old man druid guy who was going to summon Dark Young of Shub-Niggurath, which would have been absolutely horrible. So we nipped that in the bud, so that was good. Then took our infections and continued on to Aquasaleus. Got the town squared away with the tax collector. Try to get them back on the rolls, get them some help, get their situation squared away, and spent about a week there in some downtime, recuperating, relaxing, healing, and we're going to pick it up from there.
Okay, so you guys have been in Aquasaleus for at least a week. Those who were sick are healed.
Yay!
Anyone who needed to up their skills were able to, so you could roll to, if you haven't already rolled your skill points from last adventure, you can. I do believe I did give you sanity awards last time.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So Aquasaleus is a resort town centered around the natural hot springs and the big-ass bath. So lots of hotels, lots of eateries, lots of temples, lots of places to relax and kick back. You get a letter that due to increased pirate activity along the Irish coast, the naval commander that was due to meet to you is going to be at sea for the next 8 weeks. So he's rescheduled your meeting for 2 months from now.
Okay.
Wow, that's interesting. What do we do for the intervening time? It seemed it was a pressing matter. We were left to our own devices. What was that? Excuse me?
Oh, maybe it was resolved. Maybe it's no longer.
Yeah, perhaps. Too dangerous, perhaps. And he cracks a grin.
Well, nothing. We're going to say that you are actually at a villa. Everybody roll your status.
Not even close.
All right, we're gonna. No, that's fine. I got it figured out. We're gonna say that you're at a guest villa owned by the tax collector that you went through to sort out the village. So he's kind of put you up in one of his guest properties in town.
I got a hard success if it matters.
Oh, that'll work.
Okay.
So as you are all kind of relaxing and you get this letter and like, oh, what are we supposed to do? Let me get a name for this random ass NPC. The house seneschal, the guy who's kind of in charge of the household, is named Glycio. And when he's coming in with breakfast for all of you, he says, "Well, if you do have extra time, there actually have been some inquiries for Herminius when word got out that he was staying here."
They'll perk up a little bit at that. It's like, oh, how so?
A friend of my master. He actually doesn't say master. He says employer. He's a freedman. A friend of my employer and the owner of this house believes that his family has been the victim of sorceress attacks. And apparently they've been also robbed, and they believe that one of their freedwomen, one of their servants, has run off with a small fortune in silver. There's some dispute about this. So they're saying it's such a fantastic turn of events, it could only be caused by sorcery. Apparently, the word is that the freedwoman was very, very close to the lady of the house, and their 3 children.
Yes, but appearances on the outside can be deceiving. Did you know the family at all? Did you know this woman?
No. He smiles and he says, I take my breakfast with the kitchen staff and they gossip. In my position, it pays to know what's going on.
Yes, indeed. Well, what is
and they may have gossiped that the famous witch hunter Herminius was staying in Aquasalaeus, and I actually have an official invite. But I didn't want to bother you because I expected you to be leaving today.
Oh, no. There's rumors of sorcery. Even if I was going to be leaving today, I'd at least like to check it out and see if I could refer somebody else at least. But yes, what is the name of this family?
They are... One second. The paterfamilias is named Albinus Midiris. He is quite wealthy. His family deals in fine furs. They're an exporter. This
and
guy
they live in town?
Yes, they have a large villa in Aquasalaeus. They do some exporting. They have a clothing store in town for fine fur cloaks and that sort of thing. He whispers in Latin, new money. If you like, I can send a runner and ask what time. Ask what time you would like to. Ask for an appointment.
Yes, of course. That would be great. Thank you. We have nothing else going on, so whenever is the earliest and greatest convenience for them would be fine.
Literally, by the time you guys get dressed, finish your meal, the runner comes back and they said, "You are welcome to visit the home at your earliest convenience," and they thank you. And they're quite anxious to meet with you.
Most pressing matter.
Apparently. It must have been quite the haul of silver that she ran off with.
I would not know, but I believe this crime is several days old, so they're anxious. They're worried that the trail may be growing colder.
Yes, but with the shepherdess at my side, that shan't be a problem.
Okay, so you guys can go over whenever. Doreena, roll a luck check, and it's going to take a hard or better. But don't worry about it because it's not vital.
Sure.
23 out of 59. So I'm pretty sure that's at least. You said I needed a hard or extreme?
Yeah.
I'm good for hard.
Okay. Um. As you are as you guys are heading out, well, you know what? Never mind. It's just the timing is all off. So forget I said anything. But
Let me
that
erase my notes.
it'll you'll learn something, but not yet.
Okay.
So you get over to the villa. They're expecting you. They usher you in. You are met by a freedman servant named Yestin. He goes, welcome to the House of Midiris. I am Yestin. We are very grateful for your visit. Can I get your names and I'll announce you to my master?
Yes, I am Herminius Rusticus. And these are my associates.
He records everyone's name and brings you in. The house is a mix of Roman and Celtic design. So you see a lot of wall frescoes that are bordered with knotwork. So it's kind of like a fusion design in the house. And every room you walk through has at least 2 or more hunting trophies.
Is this
many of them magnificent?
Is this new architecture?
The house is well, it's probably a 20-year-old, 30-year-old house. It's not It's not ancient, but it's So you're brought in to the paterfamilias's office. He's sitting and waiting. Chairs are laid out for you. He comes forward and he greets you and he says, "Thank you for coming. I'm so grateful the gods had you here in Aqua Soleus. Please sit down. Can I get you something to drink or eat?"
So, yes, if you have any plum wine, that would be great. Thank you.
Okay. They bring out roll your luck.
That is 42 out of 65.
We do have he looks over at his steward who nods and says, "We do have apparently plum wine." So you're in luck. Plum wine is brought out to everyone, and he says, I guess I should start at a celebration feast last week. Many in the household fell very sick. It was odd because we all ate the same food, but only my immediate family and a freedwoman named Bronwin, who's my wife's body slave, my wife's companion, was her body slave. We freed her about 10 years ago. Bronwin got sicker than the rest of us, and we were all, near death's door for days. And it's odd because we had guests and there were other people who had dined with us to celebrate, and only my immediate family got sick to that level. And we recovered, and I thought nothing of it. I questioned the quick kitchen staff, and these are trusted freedmen who've been with my family for 10 years or more. I doubt any of them would stoop to trying to poison us. But 2 days after that poisoning, Bronwin, one of our most trusted servants, apparently ordered the kitchen staff she gathered up the all of the silver platters in our in our stores and put them in a sack and simply left. Now, I was inclined to call the local Vigilis, but again, she's a freedwoman. I don't own her. I would have liked some notice if she was unhappy, but my wife and daughters are convinced that there must be some sorcery behind it, and that these events must be connected. They're saying that she would never leave, that she was devoted to the family, that there must be something more to this. Quite frankly, I'm not sure we really need a man of your caliber. I'm not sure if this isn't just a case of food poisoning and a runaway servant. My wife and daughters feel very differently. Are any of you men married?
No.
Then you couldn't possibly understand. But I am willing to pay whatever fees you wish to solve this issue, to put my wife and daughter's mind at ease.
That I can understand. Tell me, exactly what was this celebration for?
Oh, I hire famous hunters to bring back trophies of great animals across the land. It's a way to, I guess, market my business. As you can see, I in my youth I was quite the hunter, which is how I started building up this business of exporting fine furs.
Yes.
We had heard reports of an enormous boar to the north, and I sent the hunter Granis and Dorcia. You know the hunter Granis. You know him by reputation, and you've met him 2 or 3 times. To bring back this boar, bring back the head and the body, and that we'd have a feast. And he came back, and this is in confidence, yes?
Oh, of course.
It was an utter failure. He says he tells this amazing story of defeating the beast. And then I said, well, where is the head? Where is the trophy and the creature's great pelt? And he made excuse after an excuse that he had neither the trophy nor the pelt. But he did bring back the meat of the beast. How am I supposed to show off to my clients without a trophy, without even a pelt?
Especially being in the fur trade business.
Exactly. So we had planned a grand feast to celebrate his return, and we had guests coming in from other families. So it was a fiasco. I refused to pay him. He gave us the meat. I paid him for it, which is way less than I'd agreed to pay him for the head and the pelt. He went on his way. The meat of this great boar was the centerpiece for the feast.
And what was his excuse exactly for not bringing back the head and pelt of this monster?
He said that during the battle, the pelt had been slashed and stained with blood and mud, and that the creature had fallen and bashed its head open, and that everything was just ruined and that makes absolutely no sense. I mean, what did he do? Kick it down a hillside?
Herminius will actually kind of tilt his head and look at Doreena a little bit.
He says that none of his excuses made any kind of sense.
Doreena, does that seem like a plausible story to you?
Not something that I've ever experienced before. There is a first time for everything, but I don't feel so in this case.
And I don't think it matters. We kicked him out and haven't had any contact with him for days before Bronwin stole the silver and fled.
What of the man's reputation? Do you suppose that he took the head and belt for himself? Do you think he could get more money for it somewhere else?
I don't think he ever actually found it.
Yes, indeed.
What do you think you ate?
Oh, it was boar. That I'm certain. I've had boar before. It was prepared well enough. He says, but honestly, I have. He smiles. He leans in. He says, I have a magi. I've had a magi come in already and ward the house against sorceress attack. So your job is to find Bronwin, to put my wife and daughter's minds at ease. They are eager to talk to you. And again, so you all of you have full reign of my household to speak to whoever you wish. They have been instructed by my wife to cooperate in the fullest to bring Bronwin home.
In terms of the magi that you brought in, not that I want to second guess his work or anything, but did he leave behind any runes or hex bags or anything of the such that I could perhaps?
He shows you what he has given each family member to wear. And it is a Roman bula bag, very finely made, one of the best ones you've seen. And these are legitimately what the Romans would use to protect against sorceress attacks. So whoever he got to do this, as a member of the trade, he paid for someone who knew what they were doing. Whether these things actually protect against mythos magic, you've never really put to the test. In some cases, you're pretty sure that they do, and they have protected, but it's really hard to tell. You know, you can never tell if a spell failed or a charm worked.
Right.
If they didn't die, it could go either way.
Plus, I'm assuming too, if you have like three or four objects of defense, you have no idea which one actually succeeded.
And most Romans layer their their magical defenses. They're the Romans are a very superstitious people. So he says, "My man will escort you." Macrion, what did I name him again? This guy has a name. Hold on.
Is it Yeston?
Yeston. So Yeston is at your disposal. He'll take you wherever you need to go in the house.
And this guy's name?
I'm willing to pay for your company 100 sesterci a day, and 500 on top of that when she is returned. She is not to be harmed. It would break my wife's heart.
We will do everything we can to bring her back safely.
And again, she's not a prisoner. They're very worried about her.
And the silver?
The silver is inconsequential.
Really?
I would like it back. And I'd like an accounting of it. But Bronwin is really, our family's major concern.
Understood. The staff that was present during the ceremony, during the festival, are they still here?
They're all my household staff, and they are are all still here.
Excellent.
When I heard
And
you
I'm
were
assuming
coming, I made sure that any freedmen who had the day off were brought in. So everyone who was here during the sorceress attack, if it was a sorceress attack, was here that day.
well planned.
Okay, so he says, and Yeston, could you set them to their task? I have another appointment coming in about a half an hour.
Herminius will give a bow. We shall be in contact soon.
Okay, Yeston takes you guys to a side room, and he says, I've cleared this room for your use. If you'd like to sit and discuss, I can bring people in to meet with you, or I can bring you to them and tour. I wasn't sure which way you and your company would like to work.
May not be a bad idea to get a lay of the land to see if anything seems misplaced or odd.
Very good. Who would you like to speak to first? I am vaguely familiar with all of the details.
I believe that the just to get a general idea of Miss Bronwin's mind at the moment, talking to the ladies of the house might be best first.
Understood. Right this way.
As we're walking around, can I just generally make spot checks just to see? I don't know necessarily what I'm looking for. I do have a pretty good occult, so looking for weird blood spatters, weird symbols that don't look like they could be a part of the wall.
Why don't you just roll a spot hidden in an occult now?
Okay.
Whether it matters or not, and if it does, I'll let you know. I'll let you know.
I'll definitely be doing the same since that's kind of my specialty.
Okay.
The spot hidden part of this.
I failed the spot, but I got a 19 under 60 for my occult.
Okay.
So that's at least a hard.
Yeah, I got a hard on I got 41 out of 83, so a hard success on my spot hidden.
Okay.
Wow.
All right, so I'll let you guys know if that comes up. By the way, Albinus Midiris, it was a pale blonde Celt, but he spoke really good Latin and was dressed as a Roman. That's what Albinus means. Is a nickname for the pale. So he's a Romanized Celt, but he's full-blooded Celt and new money. So he brings you to the lady of the house and introduces you. He goes, Lady Helvia Othiola. These are the detectives, the finders your husband hired. Let me introduce you. He introduces you to each one. And she's like, I'm so glad that you're here, and that someone will finally take this seriously. Please come in. I'll answer any questions you need.
So, how long have you known this Bronwin for? How long has she been in your service?
13 years. She came to us right after my daughter was born, as a wet nurse.
So you freed her after only 3 years of service?
My daughter and I would have died without her service.
Really now?
She
Figuratively or literally?
Figuratively. I was very sick. I could not produce for my daughter. Without a wet nurse, my daughter would have not survived. To repay her, I was told that further pregnancies would be dangerous. So in agreement with my husband, we adopted her daughter as well, and we've raised the girls together.
Interesting.
So I do not think that, she is my closest friend. regardless of station. If she ran, she had a good reason. If she stole, she had a good reason. She had just gotten over her illness, and right after she was back up on her feet, her hands were badly burned in a household accident. So I don't know what's going on. Still recovering from illness and having bad burns on her hands. I think that perhaps all of this just unhinged her. She would not leave. She would not leave the girls. I mean, we're lining up suitors to come and meet them. We're starting to get ready to pick out husbands for them. This is a crucial time. The girls need their mother and they need their aunt.
So her daughter, for lack of a better term, apologies, is still here then?
Yes, that is my daughter Medola.
She did not leave with her former.
No, and Medola, both my girls are beside themselves. They've called her Aunt Doreena, Aunt Bronwin all her life. They know that they know that they are not true twins. They look very little alike, but they've been raised since birth together, and they are as much sisters as any two who came from the same womb.
Have there been any threats on the house that you are aware of? Any concerns to the family?
I've asked my husband the same thing, and he assures me that there are not.
Okay.
What happened that she burned her hands? What accident?
She was bringing in a tray of food to me, and apparently stumbled, and whatever she was carrying scorched both of her palms quite badly. She left the house the same day. I saw the burns. They were quite severe. I'm surprised that she was able to move around.
Did anybody tend to her wound?
Yes, the household doctor.
What was she carrying that burnt her hands?
Oh, just one of our serving trays.
Was there food that was on it?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Was it silver?
I believe so.
Oh. Is she normally clumsy, or she would fall so easily?
No.
Did she mention any concerns about her own safety aside from the sickness?
She was sicker than any of us. But as soon as she recovered and was coherent from her fever, she started asking about the girls and after my health. And we'd already almost all recovered. She was far more concerned with our well-being, especially the girls than her own.
I want to make an insight, although I'm sure I probably fail.
That's the spirit.
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah, 57 over 15.
Well, you got to keep trying. That's the only way to get the skills.
Yeah.
43. Oh no. No luck.
I was taking notes. I kind of missed just what right happened.
No, just in general, from her demeanor, from whatever, just trying to get a sense of.
They want to know if she's hiding something or being truthful.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, I have a feeling that that being Herminius's specialty, he probably would be.
Okay, you can roll it.
Trying to read it. Oh my God, that's a 91.
All right, I got it.
In the middle in your head, it's like da na 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 na. Hey, da na 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 na.
I got an 04 out of.
She's being completely truthful.
Okay.
She looks like a woman who lost her sister. So she said that they freed her after 3 years, and she's been a freed woman ever since. They said she, They never forced her to stay. She's family.
Still, it might be a slightly awkward position for her, being in servitude of the family and being in servitude of her own daughter.
Oh, it was never like that. The girls adore her.
Yes, but it's difficult to be in the mind of another person.
Well, if you're more than welcome to speak to the girls.
And how old are they exactly?
They're both 13.
You said they are around age of suitors.
Yeah, unfortunately, God forgive me. Yeah, they're both 13.
Was that the mom saying it, or you saying it?
No, that was me saying. To the viewers at home, dear God, I am sorry. But yes, in ancient Rome, you started looking for a husband for your little girls when they were 13 years old. Yeah, like they the ideal
the same thing.
couple,
I think Mulan was like 50.
It's terrible.
So it's not that big a difference.
The ideal couple in ancient Rome was a 30-year-old guy and a 13-year-old girl. It's just
Right.
It's never something you do today. It's absolutely horrific, but so much of history is.
Mm. Where are the children now?
They're in their rooms. They're waiting. They're hoping to speak with all of you.
Well, unless you have... actually, does Bronwin have any extended family outside of what's in this house?
Not that I know of. She came to us as a slave from another city. She says she'd been part of my cousin's household. Give me a second. In Lindis, to the south of here. When we put out the call desperate for a reliable wet nurse, it just so happened that one of her household slaves had just delivered a baby. So as a courtesy, my cousin gave her to me, and we brought her up immediately. And, to thank God that she was just that, close. Or, I don't know if my daughter would have survived. I wouldn't have survived.
That says very fortunate indeed.
Is she literate?
Yes, we had her. She came to us literate.
Interesting. I would like to see her quarters at some point, if I may.
Of course. Do you want to see her quarters like now, or do you want to speak to the girls now? Do you guys want to split up?
I would be happy just going to look. I mean, he wants to look to see if there's any fucked up books. You know what I mean? He's got a cult, so like.
Okay. A thorough
Yeah, I
search
think
of the room
being in the house, I don't think there's really much reason for us to necessarily travel in a pack for safety.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to say that Macrion searches her room thoroughly for 45 minutes, which would be a spot hidden roll.
All right.
I also am very good at spot hidden, so I can go another direction.
All right, do you want to search somewhere else, or
Sure. Yeah, I can look.
where to do?
Looking for anything out of the ordinary. Maybe in where else? I mean, we should be all kind of.
What about perhaps her quarters? Her
That's where
her
I'm at.
sleeping quarters.
That's where he's.
Oh, that's right. That's where you are.
I failed. I got a 57 over 43, and it seems like
Maybe
a lot of
you
points
help
for that.
Macrion search her.
I would most likely be with Macrion anyway, so let me. What's my spot hidden? 75 out of 54. Yeah, I'm fine.
You find it?
Yeah.
There's nothing here.
Okay, now I want to make an occult roll.
Okay. 4? About?
To see if there is anything that my past experiences would point out that I personally cannot remember at this point in time in my life. If that
Okay.
makes sense.
Are you trying to justify metagaming or?
No, I'm trying to justify the fact that my character knows a lot about werewolves, but me, the person that's playing the character, doesn't remember a lot about werewolves.
Okay.
So I assume I should have some
if-
prior knowledge.
If someone with lycanthropy came into contact with a silver tray, it would burn the skin off of their hands.
All right. Cool. Thank you. I also got a 24, which I would spend the 4 luck points to make it pass anyway. So
I would give you a bonus dice for anything lycanthropy, lycanthropy related, because you're Little Red Riding Hood. You're literally Little Red Riding Hood, werewolf slayer.
all right. Sounds good. Thank you.
Again, unfortunately, it's a warning sign that, the burns from the silver tray and then stealing the silver. That's
It's weird.
It's weird.
Yeah.
All right, so that's what you guys are doing for 45 minutes. What are Herminius and Malachi doing?
Herminius will be going to the girls' quarters to talk to them.
Okay. They are named Medella and Medola.
Really?
Yep. Their grandmother.
I know people who name their twins like that.
Their grandmother was named Madeira. So. Actually, if you look at Roman history, there's a lot of that going on.
Really?
Little girls are usually named after people in their family that they tweak the name.
Oh, okay.
To make it so several daughters could have very similar names because they'd be named after their father, and they just tweak a different feminine, feminization of it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that.
Yeah.
It sounds kooky, but it's not out of period.
George Foreman has 5 or 6 kids, and they're all named after him.
I knew a guy who had 4 boys, and they were all named variations of Nick.
Jeez.
I'm the second Oscar. I named my son Zach. I'm not doing that. My dad, God rest his soul, was Oscar. Okay, so they're very pleased to see him. Are you here to? Are you gentlemen here to bring back Bronwin?
Yes, indeed. We are looking into her disappearance, and for whatever caused her to flee, and we will ensure that she comes back safely.
Oh, thank you. And they said, look, I know what people are saying, but she would never steal from us. If she ever had a need, we would give it to her. If there was ever a need for money, even if she was too ashamed to ask our mother, we would give up some of our jewelry to keep her safe. If she did take what she took, and she had a good reason, she would never steal from the family. She promised that she'd never leave us until we were both married.
Oh, and I have absolutely no doubt of that as well. She has been with this family for as long as you have. There's absolutely no reason for her to betray any of your trust.
And if she was going to leave, I doubt she'd leave without Pasco.
I beg your pardon?
She has a lover in the household. She's happy here. I don't think that my mother knows, but we know.
Is he one of the servants in the house?
He takes care of the gardens. And the darker-haired one, who looks more Greek, says that she's probably half Greek. She says that she would have told one of us, if not both of us, if she was going to go anywhere. I can't accept it. I can't accept that she just would leave. She had to be enchanted. This has to be some foul sorcery, and I don't know why they would target her. Perhaps it was meant for one of us.
And everything has been going on fine in the house recently, other than the sickness, of course.
Oh, the sickness. But before that, my parents have been arguing about our suitors.
Well, that is to be assumed.
But we're just waiting to meet. They said they would give us some say in the matter.
That is very kind of them.
She smiles and says, "Giving us some say doesn't mean they're going to listen to anything we say." But I think it was just to keep us from complaining over much.
And what exactly have they been arguing over?
My father
I know
has
they might
a
be.
business
They might not let
associate
you privy to everything.
that's on his third wife, and he's close to 50. And my mother put her foot down and said that, we shouldn't be married to anyone unless we were their first wife, that we shouldn't go into a household where there are existing adult children, that it would be a disaster.
That is understandable. You do not want your first relationship to be a contentious one.
It has, well, they said, but that has nothing to do with Bronwin.
Well, to be frank, we do not know exactly what was going on. And as you said, she might not have been the target of this. It could have been a side effect of something else, or an accidental targeting.
Well, we hope that you'll get to the bottom of it and bring her home.
And is there okay.
Can you describe her to me physically?
They describe her. She looks a lot like me. She's a little dark. She's a little paler than I am. Her hair is like mine. So she's broad-shouldered, stocky, an apple figure. She has curly hair, and she's a little muscular. She says that she grew up working on farms and in fields before she was brought into the house as a young woman. They say that she's got, she has a scar on her calf from where, she dropped the knife when we were just kids. But,
After she got sick, when she got better, did anything change about her? Did she seem differently?
No, not that we're aware of. She seemed tired. She'd had a lot of nightmares during the fever.
What kind of nightmares? Do you remember them?
Oh, she would just scream and howl, and we'd put cold towels over her. It was horrible. She nearly died. We were so relieved when she recovered, and then to have her just leave, it's a cruel twist of the gods. We prepared ourselves to lose her to the fever, and then for her to just run off.
So in her describing Bronwin, and between what we've gathered from, they call her aunt and everything like that. I know that you said that the girls don't necessarily look alike, but can I get a sense maybe if she realizes that Bronwin's her mom, or if she's adopted?
It's open.
Is it? Oh, okay.
It's not a secret.
Okay.
Rich couples adopting children and bringing them into their families was not unheard of. With the infant mortality rate, heirs were very important. Even grown adult people would be adopted into families.
Huh. All right, sounds good. I just wasn't sure if there was like something hidden, like an unspoken type thing. So,
right.
Okay.
So,
Malachi, anything? You're good? Oh, because you're with Herminius.
So I'm just kind of, especially because there's no security risk, I'm just standing back and doing the other thing that I do well, which is just be really observant.
Mm-hmm.
So like by the way, I mean, just so the rest of you know, like I'm good at bashing things, but the other thing I'm good at is I'm very good at listening, spotting hidden, and insight. Like all of those are my like top stats. So that's kind of like my character is I just sit back and watch and observe.
And then be there in case something happens.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay.
So I'm generally just trying to like sort of stand back and piece things together as, I mean, you know, I'm not exceptionally, well, actually I am pretty smart, but I'm more just sort of an observer. So if there's anything that oddly stands out or anything about the people that we talk to that stands out.
Yeah, these girls seem very sincere. So after 45 minutes, you and Doreena come back. All of you are together, and you can plot your next move on who you want to speak to, if anyone.
Oh, just real quick, when was the last time they saw Bronwin?
3 days ago.
Okay, so did they see her the day that she left, or was it before that?
They saw her that morning. She brought them breakfast.
Sounds good.
So nothing
Was it on a
interesting.
Yes.
All right.
Nothing interesting in Bronwyn's rooms. No obscure tomes. Nothing that seemed out of place. Doreena, you didn't notice anything, did you?
No. But I do find it interesting that she had a lot of nightmares. And the sweating.
Indeed. Could be fever dreams of the sickness, though.
It said howling. I mean, usually when you're sick, and yes, you do get the night sweat. You do sweat, and you definitely would have dreams. But howling just seems very particular to me.
Indeed.
Where to next, Herminius? This is more under your purview. This is your business after all.
Well, I believe at this point we do have a few options. We could, I believe the staff that prepared the meal would be in a good place to go, as well as the doctor who tended to her wounds after the burn. And I believe, Bronwin had a lover, the gardener. I believe that he would be an interesting person to talk to as well, though from what I gather, that was not exactly an open secret. So we might want to keep our discussion to him aside as to not rally the owners.
Yes, indeed. Discretion is the better part of valor.
Indeed.
Okay, so
He also might be more amiable to talk to us if he knows that their secret is being kept.
All right, who wants to go do what? Or do you all want to stay together?
I want to speak to the kitchen staff.
Okay.
I'll go with.
Okay. And do you guys want to go speak to the doctor or the boyfriend? Or you guys can do both because there's a lot more kitchen staff and these are just two guys.
Yeah.
Or you can split up and speak to one each.
Well, how is Malachi's knowledge of, first aid or anything like that? Would he be able to handle a discussion with a doctor?
No.
Me neither. Yeah, then honestly, either or the doctor or the why not we can hit the doctor up first and then kind of make it a meandering. We can take a break and head outside to the gardens and maybe run into the.
Okay, so let me do the kitchen because their search of the bedroom yielded nothing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, the Yeston comes and he takes you guys to the kitchen. And he says that has everyone lined up, and it's 4 slaves and 3 freedmen. The slaves are 3 women and a man, and the freedmen are 2 women and a man. So it's 2 men and 5 women are all the kitchen staffs. They're all named Alicia, Iban, Kiara, Ferngal, Sabina, Nile, and Florin. They all look very nervous.
Hello. I'd like to speak to whomever was handling the meat during preparing the meat during before the festivities.
They said that Bronwin directed most of us. We had asked for her. We were having some difficulties, and she was assisting us. But she directed us to in our actions.
What difficulties were you having?
They all start looking at each other nervously.
From what I was told, you were serving boar. Is that something that has not been cooked in this kitchen before?
Oh, it has, miss. It has. It just there were some difficulties this time, and we thought that Bronwin might have the expertise to work through it.
Was it with the pelts? Was there some mud on the meat?
They all look like they're all looking at each other, and no one wants to speak.
Come. We've been given free reign to move about the house and to question who we will. Answer the question. And he kind of steps forward and crosses his arms.
So is that an intimidation or a persuade?
Let me see what's better. Probably neither. Let's see. I don't see either one. Where the fuck is intimidate on here?
I think I should. Yeah, I have intimidate.
Do you have persuade and persuade?
I'm trying to find the damn sheet. I know it's yeah, I got that at 40. I'll do persuade. 51 over 40.
Okay. They again hesitate to answer. So Doreena, do you want to try?
Our job here is to look for a missing woman. I do not believe anyone here has done anything wrong, nor does the owner of the house. I am interested in the meat that was eaten because I am a friend of the person who brought the meat. I am interested in seeing what he brought and in what condition it was.
Okay. So roll your that's all true, so roll your persuade.
Oh, fuck.
Well, you didn't threaten anyone. I can't say it's intimidate.
I know, I didn't want to threaten anyone because they're really not in trouble.
They don't know that.
Oh, fuck. 86. Hey, they ain't getting shit out of I ain't getting shit out of them.
All right. Well, why don't I say you guys all did this together? Because the only ones with good persuade are not with you.
I could get angry.
Do you want? They all refuse. They all again. Nobody speaks up.
Do I have any of my weapons on me?
Yeah, you would have. Nobody
Yeah.
armed you.
I just take out my javelin and I just bang it real fucking hard on the floor, and I tell them to speak up, otherwise they are going to be in trouble. I hate to say it like that.
Okay, so roll your intimidate.
Dear God, let's do this. I make it by the skin of my teeth.
Okay. At that point, they said, "Look, you don't have to believe us or not, but we just did what Bronwin asked us. The meat, it was terrible. It was in horrible shape. There was mold on most of it. We didn't have the experience to trim it down properly. But Bronwin grew up, very poor and had cooked with questionable meat before, so she came in and advised us. She trimmed and trimmed and trimmed to try and get a few cuts of usable meat out of it. The poor thing even cut her thumb, while she was working the meat. And at that point, we only had enough meat for maybe 5 portions, and we had a feast of 20 guests.
So what else did you feed them?
Bronwin sent us to the market to buy a pig.
Okay.
Only the immediate family had the meat that was brought back from the hunt.
Okay. Thank you for being honest. Although I am going to roll for insight. Thank you for coming forward with that information.
Roll your insight. Macrion?
I got a 95. Totally legit.
You guys are terrible.
We are. So you've never handled spoiled meat before?
No, we buy our meat fresh in the market every Friday.
So you were given spoiled.
How we handle spoiled meat is we throw it out. We don't cook with it. We don't trim it down. But Bronwin knew tricks how to, add wine and spices and to boil it.
Do you remember the wine and the spices?
What?
Do you remember the wine and the spices that you used?
They said no. It's all by touch. That's why we had to call Bronwin. We don't know how to do these tricks. One says, I came from before I was trained in a wealthier household than this one. We didn't have to deal with ways to take the taste of, turned meat.
But if you've dealt with food before, you don't know what spices were used?
Bronwin handled those cuts herself.
Mm.
We had a whole pig to roast. We were busy with that.
And not one person was keeping an eye on her to see what she was doing.
We trusted her. You don't think that she was the one who poisoned the family, do you?
No, she ate it herself, so that wouldn't make sense. Why would she poison herself and them?
Macrion's eyebrows knit together as she says that. Has anyone heard anything strange? I'm sure that there is talk in the kitchen. Was there any sense that she may be unhappy, that she had planned on leaving?
No, sir. She'd never leave the girls. She'd promised them that she wouldn't leave until they were married. The girls have been after her since they turned 10, making her promise she wouldn't leave, that she would, speak to their mother and father on their behalf if they were going to be forced to marry someone that she didn't really like. Said the lady of the house still feels to this day that Bronwin saved her life. So if it came down to it, they hoped that Bronwin could convince the girl's mother to not make a match that they were very terribly opposed to.
The day that she left, she demanded silver. How did she seem when she first approached you asking for that?
She seemed afraid. You won't. You have to understand. We just did what we were told. This is one of the slaves. Bronwin was a freedwoman. We had to do what she told us. We didn't think that she was going to steal anything.
Okay. Well, if you continue talking, I'll make sure to bring that up.
She had us gather every silver serving tray in the house, and she held out a sack and told us to drop it in.
She didn't touch any of them?
No. She reorganized them in the sack so they'd be easier to carry, but when she reached in, she had a cloth over her hand. Her hand had been badly burned earlier in the day.
Had you ever known her to handle any of the silver platters or?
Oh, all the time.
Yes. Okay. Indeed.
Whenever she serves meals to the lord and lady of the house or important guests, we use nothing but silver. On a day-to-day basis, we have wooden ones.
Was the platters that she took, were they new to the home? Was it something that had been here for a while?
A mix. She just took every silver serving tray. About 6 of them.
Did they stand out from any of the other items in the kitchen? Anything strange about them?
No, one was quite old and battered, and we hadn't really used it much anymore. We probably should have sold it and melted it down and gotten a new one. But she just simply said she needed all of the silver serving trays. She said they were dangerous.
When she said they were dangerous, did she say what she was going to do with them or why she wanted them because they were dangerous?
She said she didn't want anybody else to get hurt. We didn't know that it was just a ploy to rob the family.
Did you believe her when she said she didn't want anyone to get hurt? You've known her for a long time.
We believed that she believed what she was saying. It was confusing to us. But then again, we'd heard that the family might have been the victims of sorceress attacks, so we weren't sure. But again, it was not our place to question her or disobey.
That's understood. I will mention that to the master of the house. Macrion, do you have any other questions you'd like to ask?
Not at this time, no.
Thank you for your honesty. Thank you for your understanding. And please know that if we have any other questions, I will be returning back.
Okay.
As we move away to where we're by ourselves, I say to Doreena, you said that you knew the hunter. Is it often his business to deliver spoiled meat to one that he hunts for?
Great question, because I was actually going to ask that before.
You're shocked.
Before.
You are absolutely shocked. He is paid very, very well.
Okay.
He's a professional. So you would have to say, under normal circumstances, not in a million years would he dare to bring in to a patron this wealthy, meat that had turned.
Okay. Is he a hunter like me, where he knows some things, I know some things that we shouldn't know, or he's just a guy that
you're not sure. You don't think so, but then again, he uses the same weapons guy you do.
All right. So, Macrion, to answer your question, no, this is not like him. And that is very concerning, because if you live off reputation, you wouldn't want to spoil that. No puns intended.
Oh, and he lost this guy as a patron. He was told never to return to the household.
Yeah. So he must have had a reason for doing that. Would I have any way of contacting him?
He was here a few days ago. He may still be in town.
All right.
All this happened within, a few days of. If he's still in town, it shouldn't be hard to track him down. He has a reputation.
Okay. So that might be something I want to add to the list.
All right. So what's on the list? And did you two want to speak to the doctor while they were speaking to the kitchen staff?
Yes, I think that's a good call.
Okay. His name is Lucanos. He's waiting for you. He's got his bag. He doesn't live in the house, but he lives nearby, and he comes whenever they need him. And he says, good day, gentlemen. How can I be of service?
Yes, we are looking into the disappearance of one of the house's servants.
I haven't seen her. He
You've
shrugs.
never seen her?
No, I haven't seen her since she left. I'm not hiding her.
Yeah. He'll give a little grin. He's like, I do not believe that you are. However, you were one of the last to see her. We had heard that you were the one that tended to her burns. Morning.
Yes, the day she left.
Yes. Do you know exactly what caused them? Not from the stories that you were told, but from the appearance of them. I know that you can tell whether or not they were done from direct heat or from water or anything like that. The burns leave different marks.
It looked like a combination of burn and rash.
Rash, you say?
Yes, it wasn't a typical burn. It was almost as if... are you familiar with acid?
I'm assuming I am. Maybe.
He said there are there are chemicals used to treat metal. That I've seen burn in the similar way, that they spread more like a eating away of the flesh than the consummation of fire.
Ah, yes.
So they weren't typical. I asked her what had happened. She said that she had dropped a serving tray with hot soup. It didn't seem like that sort of a burn, but she was badly hurt, and people usually don't remember how these injuries happened. You stumble, you fall in an odd way. I was going to check on her the next day to see if she was okay, but she'd already left.
Yes, indeed. She left her fairly close to after she burned herself.
It was not It was not out of the ordinary for her to be so unsteady and clumsy, and even forgetful. The fever she had was quite severe. I'm actually that she would be even up and around so quickly after it was miraculous. It's one of the worst fevers I ever saw. We had to submerge her in cold water and cover her with wet blankets to keep her liver from boiling away.
Wow, that is very impressive.
He says, and between you and me, the gods must have favored her because her heart stopped at one point, and I had to revive her with a hot poker to the side of her hip.
That's incredible.
She gasped for breath, and after the sweating and the fever and the nightmares broke, I was told that she was up. When I checked on her the next morning, she was able to sit up and drink a little broth. And by the third day, she was up and started burning herself. I told her she shouldn't have gotten out of bed.
And were you around for any of these nightmares? I heard that from
some
the
of
children
them, yes,
that they were very impressive.
As I said, the fever was burning away her liver. She was hovering between life and death. When a person is that close to death, they're seeing beyond, and some of that beyond sight could be absolutely terrifying. So yes, screaming and yelling and crying out in those types of fevers, I'm not surprised.
And there wasn't anything there wasn't anything that stood out in your mind during those moments. It seemed like relative.
Well, you have to
close
understand.
To death.
About the same time, I was running back and forth to the lady of the house, to the master of the house, and the children.
Yes.
And
they did not come down with the, at least not as serious of a condition.
No, they had food poisoning, which is what I told everyone, and no one will listen to me. What Bronwin had was something different.
Interesting.
I rolled a 12 on my insight. It's a super mega awesome success.
He actually believes everything he's saying.
Okay.
He said Bronwyn had some sort of a illness or disease. I suggested they burn all of the contents of her room, all of her clothing, just to be sure, but nobody listened to me about that either. They think it's sorcery.
Did she have any other markings on her? A rash or bite marks or anything of the sort? Perhaps it could have been
She had an old
an
faded scar
insect or
on her
such.
thigh and a deep gash on her thumb from a kitchen knife, I was told the other day.
Ah. How did that wound? Was it infected at all? Or?
It was mildly infected, but I had put an ointment on it and wrapped it in a bandage. Nothing to worry about. I'd made sure it stayed open, and so the pus wouldn't run, but she wasn't running a fever that day. But then again, she did get out of bed against my advice and stumble and burn her hands on a tray. So,
Indeed.
I think that the gash on her thumb was the least of her problems.
So, in your medical profession, in your opinion, what do you think could have caused her sickness?
I don't know. I'm just grateful it didn't spread to anyone else in the house.
Are we sure that it did not?
I'm sure that it did not. Something that virulent. It's been days. No, and we were, and the girls, and I said I was very in close contact with her. So were other of the servants. Someone else would have fallen ill by now.
So you do not believe, in your opinion, that there is any need for quarantine or anything of the family?
At this point, no. If there was need, that window has been left open.
Very true.
I advise them again to burn all of her linens and seal off the house for a few days. But again, no one listened.
Well, I perhaps might be able to persuade them to at least do the first half of that.
So, is there anything else?
No, I believe unless Malachi, you have any ideas.
While I'm here, I'm going to check over everyone in the house to make sure that they don't have any feverish symptoms. Can I say that that's on your orders?
Yes, of course.
Says,
I
good.
would much appreciate it if you did that.
He says, like I said, they don't tend to listen to. They don't tend to listen to caution, but if they believe I'm helping you investigate sorcery, maybe they'll let me do my job in keeping this family alive.
Yes, it does appear as though the man of the house is the only one that has any actual sense.
All right, he says, well, citizens, if I can be of any service, don't hesitate to call on me.
Yes, you will be, if you will be checking the rest of the house, you will be around for the better part of the day then?
Yes, I'd like to check everyone she came in contact with. And Bronwyn was very popular, so that's pretty much everyone in the house.
That's good.
But she's been gone a few days, so if they're not sick now, I think we should be out of danger.
Indeed,
It
but better
never
safe than
hurts
sorry.
to be sure, yeah.
Well, if you have any further questions or perhaps anything that you would like us to look into upon your looking into the family, feel free to reach us as well.
Certainly. Good day, sirs. All right, so you guys are all back together.
So,
I see a lot of cringing and weird half smiles like, uh-oh. So I can't wait to hear this conversation of you guys all back together.
Herminius,
So can we find out if she ever cooked in the kitchen with any regularity at all? I mean, there's two things that's interesting to me. One, that she essentially seemed to insist upon using this meat. Is that correct? And then the cooks kind of pulled it down.
They said, well, they'll if you ask the cooks, they'll say that after he didn't get the trophy or the pelt, the master of the house was just ranting, raving, absolutely furious at all the money he had wasted.
Mm-hmm.
And he demanded at least that they would have the feast. And they were nervous about telling him that all of the meat was unusable when he was already so angry.
So that was in response to the master being that upset. So it wasn't Bronwin having them cook the boar.
No, they actually called her in. You're talking to the kitchen staff again. Like after you guys discussed Malachi had some, they say that they were asking Bronwin to go and explain to the master of the house that they couldn't use the meat. And she said, he'll completely lose his mind. Let me see how much of it I can salvage.
Okay. So she was kind of just a go-between between the master and the cooks.
Right.
Did she ever cook at all in the kitchen?
Only when they were swamped, when there was a major feast.
So she was really sort of pinch hitting here. She was kind of just stepping in to help them out of a jam.
They said that's the way she is. She's always trying to help.
Okay, so then I think this idea that we've maybe discussed that perhaps she might have contaminated herself with this boar meat while she was cutting it and cut herself. Something was wrong with the boar meat, that's for sure.
Can I roll insight, or can everybody roll insight to see? I mean, maybe during
somebody successfully roll insight.
I can roll a successful insight, but so the one thing I'm thinking is, obviously, getting a blood contamination is different from just eating and digesting something. That's
what the doctor said. That
yep.
She had something completely different, but nobody wanted to listen to.
I have a 23 out of, what is it, insight we're doing? Out of 70. So hard success.
I got a 6.
They're telling the truth, and they're very, they don't understand what's going on, but everything they're telling you at this point is the truth.
So it sounds like she got contaminated by the meat, and that caused whatever it is that led to her. But obviously her effect would have been quite different since it was a blood contamination than, just eating it.
So I got a 52 under 60 for occult. And I don't know that I know anything specifically about werewolves, right? But I think the general consensus would be if you get bit, you would turn into a werewolf. Would eat it, so would the blood transfer then? So if there was blood in the meat and she cut herself while cutting the meat, would I think that that's possible with a successful?
There's no precedent, but it certainly seems possible. Okay. Like you're not a werewolf expert. You've not read every treatise on lycanthropes, but if the saliva in your bloodstream could spread whatever curse this is, it's quite possible getting blood in an open wound.
Mm-hmm. I mean, looking at it from a scientific point of view, it's the fluid transfer that counts and not necessarily the action of the bite.
Ingestion. Yeah.
It's bad humor is what it is.
All right.
Mixed humors.
Right. So if she contaminated herself and was aware, perhaps when the meat was then cooked, the family was spared this potential curse. It seems that we're leaving fairly heavily on the premise that she is perhaps a werewolf, but signs do seem to point in that direction, do they not?
She also could not necessarily be aware of what she is, hence why she believes that the silver is of danger to the family. She could believe that ingesting the meat is what did it, and so separating the silver from the rest of the family is protecting them, being completely unaware that they are unaffected.
She may also feel responsible. She's the one that handled the meat.
We need to find this hunter.
Yes.
I agree.
He may still be here because this only happened a couple of days ago. He might be trying to do damage control because word probably got out that he gave someone really bad meat. And it's not like him to do that. So
It's possible he knows more than that even.
It's possible that he was maybe turned himself and wanted to spread the contamination further by turning in meat. Although it was unpalatable, there would be no reasonable assumption on his part that they would use it. You would think that if he was indeed going to spread the contagion, that he would use a better vehicle. No?
I have no evidence to believe that he is that type of person. We go by word of mouth here. If you don't provide a good service, you're not going to make money. I don't see a reason for him to provide that kind of meat. I think this is something out of his control, or it just doesn't make sense to me for him to give that. You know what I mean?
Indeed, but if he is contaminated, his will may not be his own.
True. That could be a possibility.
I would defer to your expertise in this field, as this is something that you are more familiar with.
For me, I really think that there's just something different about it. It doesn't make sense for him to bring that type of meat. I think if we do talk to him, we can get a better understanding of where he's at, see if he's acting a little strange. I have met him before, so I do have a good idea of who he is as a person, how he speaks. Maybe a little bit of observation may help us get a better understanding.
Yes, I believe he should be our priority at this point.
Mm.
Okay, so have you exhausted your time in the house?
I believe that we will be returning to the house, but I'd still like to talk to Bronwin's lover, but I think that the hunter is definitely a more viable target at this point, and it would probably be at the best interest for all four of us to deal with this guy just in case.
So you're all going to leave. You may come back and talk to him, but you're going to try and track down the hunter immediately.
Yeah.
Okay, how do you want to do that?
Local bars?
Or a local merchant.
Can we have the seneschal send out a runner or two to no, I don't know. Does that make sense for them to send someone out to try to find him?
Everybody make an idea roll.
Oh, yeah.
11.
If only you knew someone who made it his business to stay up to date on all the rumors in town.
I don't know who that could possibly be.
Yeah, I got a hard success.
All right. Remember the seneschal of the place you were staying said that he liked to keep up on all the gossip in town.
Yep.
Oh,
Mhm.
yeah.
Glacius? Is that what his name was?
All right, you go back to where you were staying. He's there.
All right. I'm trying to... Glicio?
Okay.
Glicio? Glicio, a question, if we may.
Of course.
So we have undertaken the assignment and have come to an interesting crossroads. We need to find the hunter who was Grannis. Yes. We were wondering if he is perhaps still in town. If you may have a location where we may be able to
I
find
don't know if
you?
he's still in town, but he always stays at the Cracked Barrel.
Ah, yes, the Cracked Barrel. Thank you.
Of course, the cracked barrel.
And he'd flip him up.
He says that the food's half-assed, but the portions are big.
He looks over at Malachi because he's huge. It's just eat everything.
Go.
So he slips him a couple of coins in appreciation for the information. I don't know what would be appropriate. Whatever would be appropriate for.
Well, he takes it and he smiles and he says, I'm pretty sure he's still there. I think there was some kind of a bar fight in that bar.
Interesting.
He gives you directions.
When was the fight? Recently, last day or so?
It may have been yesterday, the day before. I'm not really sure.
Yes. Well, we must be off then. Thank you for your help.
Best of luck on your hunt.
He cracks a grin and he kind of laughs a little bit since we're going after a hunter.
He was like, pun intended. So you get over to the Cracked Barrel. You know, it's a large tavern. They have rooms on the second and third floor. You see the bartender, behind the bar, and there's a serving lady. The serving girl comes over and says, "Can I get you gentlemen and lady a table?"
I grab Herminius and walk off to the side to leave you and Malachi to go and sit, since he's like super good at reading people. So you can, since you know him, can talk to him. We'll be back up and like maybe sit like 2 tables over.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
we'll
the
see a
same
table.
thing, kind of view from the outside. Yep.
So, do you want 2 tables?
Yes. 2 for Malachi and myself. 1 for Malachi and myself, and I believe the gentlemen behind us are asking for a table as well.
Of course. And she seats both of you. And she's like, "What can we get you?" She tells you what the specials are. What the kitchen is made for lunch today.
If you just give us a moment, we'll have an answer for you in a minute.
Certainly. I'll be back with some wine.
Yes, wine, please.
Okay.
Do I see him around the room? Anyone who seems like a hunter?
No, you don't see him or anyone who seems like a hunter.
Anyone?
Roll a. Go ahead. Ask your
I
question.
know. I was going to ask anyone with a crossbow or any type of weaponry that would be used for hunting or.
No, but you do see a couple of people who look like they've been in a fight recently.
Ah. Okay. I rolled a 25 for spotting. So I. Oh, way. It's a hard. Sorry.
Okay, you see a couple of people look like they've been in a fight.
Okay. I whisper over to Malachi. Take a look at the two gentlemen that were in a fight. Should we offer to buy them a drink? How should we approach them?
And what else? I mean, what else do we discern? I'm gonna spot hidden to get some sense of them. I have a 10. Any sense of what can we figure out from looking at them? Do they look like trouble?
Oh no,
Besides the fact that they're in a fight?
they look like regulars. They're
Okay.
talking to the barmaid and they're talking to people at the, around them. They look quite comfortable here, other than the fact that, one of them has an arm kind of in a sling, and the other one has very badly swollen face on one side.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe we should ask our waiter first when it comes back.
Yeah.
Okay. She comes back with your wines.
What's up with the fellows over at the bar over there?
Oh, there was you didn't hear it from me, but they were beaten up by a woman. She chuckles.
Oh, were they? Interesting. When did this happen?
Day before yesterday.
No kidding. Here in this bar?
Yep.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
And she wasn't even looking for them. They tried to pull her off someone else.
Oh, really? Who was she? Wait a second. A friend of ours, a hunter. What's his name again, Doreena?
Grannis.
Grannis. It wasn't Grannis, was it?
Yeah, that's the one. Apparently he's got a way with women. She was furious.
Oh.
Yeah, he's still upstairs recovering.
Is he really? Oh, we'll have to pay him a visit. How's he doing?
I can bring your food up there if you're friends of his.
Yeah, we are friends of his, actually. But we haven't seen him in a while. We're actually kind of hoping. We knew he hung out here sometimes. But
she says, hold on. And she goes over to the manager. These are friends of Grannis. They're looking for him. And he comes over and he goes, he's run up quite a tab.
Oh, has he?
Yeah.
I'm staying here.
He's been staying in his room and drinking quite heavily, and that was before the fight. And I just want to make sure that he can. I don't want to toss someone out who's injured.
Mm-hmm.
So if you could collect him and take him somewhere else, or pay up what he owes, and a little in advance, I'll let him stay to finish recovering here.
We could help out with him. He's a good old friend, and obviously he's a regular here, so we'd hate for him to see him on the
Well, he only comes when he's delivering, and we heard that he lost his position with his patron in Aquasaleus.
What happened?
Oh, a woman came in demanding to find out where he was. She went upstairs. Words were exchanged. We heard crashing. Some of the boys went up afraid that he was beating this woman up. It turned out it was the other way around. And when they tried to pull her off of him, I wasn't there myself, but I heard it. You could see they're pretty sturdy guys. Apparently, she must have been a madman, because they say a madman has the strength of 10. She tossed them around like they were rag dolls, and I wasn't getting in her way. She went charging out of the bar, ran down the stairs, charged, but knocked over a few tables, knocked over a couple of patrons. Just got out into the street before the Vigilis could arrive. Never seen anything like it.
Did she come into the bar looking for them and immediately went on this rampage?
She came into the bar looking for him.
Yeah.
And they were talking upstairs for a while. And then the conversation turned. I couldn't tell you what they were talking about.
Interesting. Well, we'll have to pay a visit to our friend. Let us have some food first. We'll
Here
have
now.
double
It was
platter.
a matter of 50 sestertii for his tab. And then you can go upstairs and have a visit.
We can take care of that. We'd like to eat some food first, though, please.
Of course.
All right.
So he brings out a meal. And he says that, that's going to be 5 sestertii. And he goes, and your wines are on the house if you're going to cover your friend's debt.
We will.
So you're able to eat a meal before you go up to speak with him. And the food, again, kind of half-assed, but very large portions.
And I give a good tip on top of our payment for this.
Okay.
So
As you can tell, I'm not a real big fan of Cracker Barrel.
Oh, I thought you were knocking on Cheesecake Factory.
No, it's the name of the tavern's the Cracked Barrel.
Ah!
Oh, I miss Cheesecake Factory.
I've been to Cracker Barrel so many times. I've only been to Cheesecake Factory once, and it was with Pete Rawlick. He dragged me to one time.
Oh,
down in Florida. Anyway.
okay.
Hey, Oscar, before we go on, what phase of the moon is it?
Drop a 12-sided dice.
Oh, all right.
You don't want the closer you are to 6 or 12,
The better it is.
3.
you're okay. You're nowhere near. You're just between extremes.
Our two compatriots, are they at the table right next to us?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe we can kind of just confer together here a little bit. What phase of the moon is it? 2 days ago, our friend Bronwin went on a rampage. You guys got it.
Mm-hmm.
The interesting thing is it wasn't a full moon then.
So the 12th would have been a new moon, I believe. So it would have been right close to some sort of change.
So do we know, was 2 days ago, was it a full moon?
Well, so the extremes would be new moon and full moon, right? So pick one and we can work from there.
We definitely would know if 2 days before it was a full moon.
Yeah.
I'm just getting, obviously her ability.
It was not a full moon 2 days ago.
Some understanding. So her ability isn't necessarily directly related to the moon phases.
Yeah. Well, Doreena, somebody afflicted with lycanthropy, do they normally have enhanced abilities even outside of the moon phases, or is it only stricken them at those specific times?
Ask.
Roll your occult.
Thank you.
I'm gonna roll 2.
18.
I'm not.
So I made it.
Heightened strength, stamina is not uncommon in lycanthropes, even in their human forms.
Okay.
And quite often, not only can they change at any time of the day, they can make these changes at any phase of the moon. It gets worse the closer you get to the moon. Some of the ones who are cursed can only transform during the phases of the full moon, and they don't have living memory of it. They don't have conscious memory of it. Some of the ones that are hereditary seem to not have that restriction. They have full memory and full ability. But again, there's no hard science to it.
But your man
is it
here,
just it could be less controllable at the strong phases of the moon?
Right.
But your man here didn't say it was some wolf-like creature. They said it was a woman.
Her
Well,
physical...
yes, but
Go ahead.
go ahead.
I was just going to acknowledge that her physical structure to begin with, she was described as a broad shoulder woman with muscles. So even if she wasn't at
She was a farm girl.
Yeah, she's a farm girl. So even if she wasn't at her full potential, she already started off being very...
So imagine if she's extra strong now because of if she is a lycanthrope. Imagine if she's extra strong now when she's not even the werewolf. Imagine how brutal she's going to be when she's actually turned into a werewolf.
One thing as well, I think we might want to caution ourselves with as we approach Granus is they were in a scuffle a couple of days ago. We do not exactly know what the outcome of that was.
Is there a cure for lycanthropy?
Yes, silver sword to the heart.
Exactly.
Yes, well,
There's not one known.
yeah.
Not that you know of or have ever heard of.
Okay.
What are
There
those
could be
fruits
some ancient magic. There could be some potion somewhere, but you've never heard of it.
That's why I wear this.
How much further are we going to go? It's 11. I'm trying to plot in my head.
Well, it might be good to go up, just talk to the Grannis at least.
Okay.
That. What are are the face spears elementals silver?
Magic seems to work as if it's silver.
Okay.
So enchanted and silver usually is fine. You're gonna you're gonna smoke this guy in the bar.
Just, crossing my eyes, etc.
Okay.
Depends on his mood right now.
So you go up and
hey, we just paid his goddamn bar bill.
Right?
Or now that we have this information, are we all going to go up together?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
all right, you go up and knock on the door, and he's like, "Go away." And the barmaid says, "Shut up, you ingrate. You've actually got friends here." And he goes, "What?" And she says, "Just go in."
Herminius will turn to her and goes,
And she gives one of you a tray of stew for him.
Thank you.
And she says, "And I'm not bringing him up any more alcohol. Not until he eats something. I don't care how bad he's hurt." She storms off.
It's Doreena.
Doreena, the shepherdess?
Yes, I'm in town. How are you?
She says, "Good." You walk in and you see him lying on the bed. He's got a badly bruised face. He's got a foot kind of up on some pillows covered with blankets, covered up with the bandages and a splint. So apparently he has, someone set a broken foot. He's taking really shallow breaths.
Oh, fuck.
So you can tell he's probably got some broken ribs. And his shoulder is so swollen, he looks like a fiddler crab.
Wait a second. Slow down now.
One shoulder is like twice the size of the other. And the arm is kind of at a weird angle.
Are you just giving the fiddler crab reference for me, Oscar?
No, I was just thinking one big, one small.
Thank you for the visual.
It's not all about you and the crab deal.
Sorry, man.
What did you get yourself into?
He says, "Look, this mad woman came in and she just started wailing on me. I can't tell you more than that. I'm not proud of being hurt so badly by a woman, but I was not at my best. She what's the word? She sucker punched me. Didn't see it coming.
You
and
knew
then she was on me just like madness on a fury.
You know who the woman was, of
Do I
course.
know if he's perhaps exaggerating this situation?
Roll.
That is a 26 out of 70.
He is not being entirely truthful.
And so Herminius will he's been kind of hanging out in the doorway a little bit. And he'll take a slight step forward into the room. Be like, now, you are among friends here. And he'll give kind of a little bit of a wink. And say, we understand that she was not exactly of a natural ability. You can share that she thoroughly destroyed you, and we will understand. Now tell the truth.
Roll your persuade. With a bonus dice because you did pay for his tab.
Let's see. That is a 9
Okay.
out of 70.
Yeah.
He says that she was angry with him. She says that I had cursed the family. I told her I'd done no such thing. She said it was that she blamed it on the meat and that everything was fine until I came with it and demanded to know where it came from.
Where
And
did
where
it
did
come
it
from?
come
It all
from?
gets very foggy. I did kill a boar. It was a big boar. It was savage. I shot it with my crossbow. I stabbed it with my spear, and it slowed it down, but it wouldn't die. It wouldn't die. It didn't die until I took out my sacks, and I just had to keep stabbing it. My old sacks, the one that's been passed down, the one that our master, the weaponsmith gave me. It finally died, and I was thinking, oh, it's going to be so great. I mean, this is the biggest head I'm going to. And then it wasn't there anymore. It wasn't there anymore. It was there, and it just wasn't there anymore. And it was a man. It had been a boar. I killed a boar. I didn't kill a man. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have a pelt. I didn't have a head. But I figured meat is meat, right? I did kill a man. I did a boar. I didn't kill a man. It was a boar. So I took what meat I could and I brought it back. And I thought if I just explain, maybe that would be enough. Maybe that would be enough.
You may take solace in the fact that you did in fact kill a boar and not a man.
You see?
You were not delusional. Do not worry at that. You can settle your mind on that at least.
She wanted to know where I found the boar, where I found the boar.
As do we.
I told her it was dangerous. I said that she shouldn't go there. That I mean, the thing almost killed me, and then it was just gone, and I had nothing to show for it. I told her, and then she just got angry and she started hitting me. And if I hadn't told her, she would have killed me. I'm sure she would have killed me. She had such rage. So I told her.
And what did you tell her?
She said that he tells her I tracked it to the forests just north of. Hold on, I have it written somewhere. It said I tracked it to the forest just north of Mamusium, which is. Hold on, I believe. Give me a second. Oh, that is very far north of here. That's north of Deva. So you're now at the southern tip of Wales, or what will be Wales. This is actually in the Midlands of Britain.
Wow. That's a trek.
Especially you consider that he brought meat back.
People meat.
It was a boar. You realize that he's insane, right?
Yeah.
So, are his weapons visible? It's like he have like a belt hanging on the bed that has the dagger, the CX.
Yeah.
In it.
Yeah, he's got his axe there.
I walk up and grab it because I want to see what it looks like. Because if he actually killed it, I want to see if it's has the silver blade. Because he did say that it came from.
It has the same kind of knotwork your spear has. The spear that you got from. It's an enchanted weapon.
This MF has an enchanted blade.
Well, he is a good hunter, right? I mean, he's of renown.
I swapped those out, and my CX finds its way into his.
51.
That's low, Macrion.
He's crazy, and he butchered and served people meat to.
What injuries did she give you?
You'd have to make a medicine roll. He says that they didn't really have a proper doctor come in. They just had some guy who comes into the bar patch him up, so he hasn't really had quality medical attention.
I can do first aid. Would that help him at all? Or he's past that
You're
point?
pretty sure that the arm is dislocated and has not been reset.
Try
Do
to
I
fix
know?
that with first aid. That's
Roll
what-
it. You can do that.
No, not at all.
Okay.
Oh,
He just starts fucking screaming when you try and get it back into place. And it hurts worse than ever before. Does anybody else want to try and set it?
I'll try. I have a 35 for what little
Okay.
it's worth. Oh, no.
Okay.
Yeah, no, that won't do it either.
All right. If
49 out of
three of
45.
you hold him down and one of you try it, I'll allow it with a.
All right, I'm holding him down. I'm basically laying across him at this point.
yeah, Doreena,
Alright.
if you want to pop, I'll hold them down too.
And he's
Well,
like
can I try-
screaming. Yeah.
Can
go
I
ahead.
roll again?
Yeah. With a bonus dice.
Okay. All right, so I'm going to keep the 4 and I'm going to reroll a 6.
I'm watching eating an apple.
64. Ain't happening.
Okay. He passes out.
Oh,
When he passes out, I take a silver sesterce out of my pocket and I press it to his cheek.
No,
Secret
he
in
has no effect. He's not
Oh, good,
affected by
okay.
silver at all.
Thank
I
fucking
w-
God.
I whispered to Macrion, if you're going to take his sword, give me yours.
I
Oh,
don't.
my
So I
fucking
think I don't have an enchanted anything.
Should we just
I
cut
thought
his
you-
arm off at this point? I mean, I'm just thinking.
You could
Just let it dangle to its side.
You could send in your doctor friend if you want. You actually made a doctor friend in town.
Yeah, let's.
Yeah, I don't.
Can
Yeah.
we send a runner for the doctor friend?
Yeah, you can send the dog runner for the doctor friend and get him some actual medical treatment. He'll bill you after.
Fucking God. Macrion, you're paying for that doctor bill to cover the Seahawks.
Okay, so
That's fair. The good
all right,
news, though,
so believe it or not, this is all I've written
Okay.
because I figured they can't possibly go beyond this point, and it's 11. It's quarter after 11, so I guess I
think
plotted it well enough.
I guess you're right.
We've learned a lot. We've learned a lot. We've learned a
There were a lot of
of
people to talk to, so I figured this would be enough for a session.
And we
Yeah.
still have one more person to talk to.
I mean, that
We can
seems
talk to
rather
anybody.
superfluous at this point, but yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know. She might have talked to him before he left. He might have.
yeah,
information.
Yeah, true.
Plus, after all this surgery, I'm going to need another meal downstairs before this shit builds up an appetite.
All right. So now that you've uncovered the mystery, what do you guys? Well, we can talk about that after.
All right.
We go downstairs and eat.
And then we recruit a legion.
Right.
Well, I mean, you've been at this pretty much all day, so you can get another meal, wait for the doctor to come, deal with that bill, and I doubt you're gonna and then towards the evening if you want to talk to the lover, but I doubt you're leaving Bath today.
Oh God, no.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, not hunting. We're aware of something in the dark.
Okay, so it's
Right.
100 sesterce to deal with his dislocated shoulder and the rest of his medical care, and he says he'll
God
come
damn it.
back. He'll come back and check on him once a day until he's able to heal.
100 sesterce for an enchanted sax.
Man, it's not bad. Yeah.
So I guess this is. I guess we're technically sort of post show. Doreen, I think the Fae gave you an enchanted dagger. because you were angry with the whole thing, but I think when we came back, they gave me something for you. I thought it was a dagger.
I see. I don't remember. I was so angry that day.
Well, you can't check the audio.
I don't know. I think so Herminius got a dagger. I think Doreena might have gotten a like a medallion or something.
Or was it a net?
That actually sounds familiar.
Maybe, yeah.
Maybe it was a net.
Well, your starting character has weapons that can affect werewolves. Or like
I believe my crossbow can.
Right, I wouldn't worry about that.
Yeah.
At this moment, anyway.
Yeah, I'll definitely check the audio for that one to triple check.
Because I think it was at the start of, it was either at the very end of that session or it was the beginning of the next session, maybe when we talked about it.
It was when you came back. I'm pretty sure that's when it happened. I can definitely check on my own time for it.
Doreena, that's a good question. What kind of spear do you have?
Well, it's a javelin.
I have a javelin.
Oh, okay. I have a fey
6 silver
spear.
tips.
I have a fey spear that, I'm not a spear person. I'm happy to have it though, but I would trade for some equivalent thing and give since this is an enchanted weapon, give it to somebody else.
I could trade you the CX for the spear. I'm not good at spear, but I did take it as a skill.
What would be the skill for a CX?
Large knife.
Large knife?
Yeah, so basically brawl, because knife is...
okay. Oh, hell, what's the damage on a CX?
Hold on.
The small is D4.
Oh, this is a large sax.
Yep.
So it's basically a short sword.
So
okay.
D6.
Plus D1D6. Oh.
I'm looking. I don't.
A long sack. No, this would be a short one. Give me a second. I'm figuring this out.
Yeah. Macrion, if you want to trade, because I can definitely make good use of that. That's exactly my main weapon skill.
It's 1d4 plus 2 plus damage bonus.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
You want to trade?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm not good with spears. I'd like to get better at them, but yeah, let's trade. You want the face spear? It's pretty good. It's 1d10 plus damage bonus.
Holy shit! Yeah, definitely.
All right.
Sweet. And so as he's handing it over to Malachi, I guess, and then like awkwardly looking over to Doreena, and he's like, "Oh, your master makes your weapons master makes these, huh?"
Yes, he does.
So you have one of these then?
I have something similar. I have a crossbow. I don't have a spear.
Yes. Well, then I don't feel quite as bad. It's not like he has the spear for weight, like he has any fucking clue.
Yeah, it has seen many battles and it comes in handy. Hopefully we don't have to use it.
If there is no cure, there may not be a choice. I know they want her to be returned, but that may be impossible.
Yeah, they don't want her harmed. They just want to know why she left.
So we need to find out if there's something that can be done for lycanthropy.
Well, I will say it is possible that we can inform them as to why she left without also telling her where she is or her current situation.
Yeah. We've essentially...
We do not... Yes. If we do end up having to dispatch of her, we don't have to tell them that.
We could see how much they might want us to try to bring her back intact. See how much it's worth their while, perhaps.
I would think we should give her the benefit of the doubt. She might be scared. She may not want to be what she is right now, and I believe that the wife and the daughters are not going to let it go. So I think we should just give it a fair shot.
Yes, indeed. But if she has been contaminated in this instance, as we have discovered, it is she probably does not have much control over what she is now. So returning her to the family might not be the best decision.
Mm.
The question becomes then, as we deal with these issues, how much do we tell the family? Obviously, they believe in sorcery. They have charms and protections, and that's common enough. But if the woman cannot be saved, and if she poses a danger, and I agree with Doreena that we should at least attempt to try to talk to her to see where her head is at. But
from my experience, we tell the family what they need to know in order to put their minds at ease and put coin in our pocket.
But as to her motivations, then?
Well, that is something that we shall find out.
Indeed. Fade to black.
And scene.
Don't you have to do your show bumper?
Yeah, well, I forced us to jump back into it. That's going to be another. All right.
We're weaving back and forth.
Yeah, it happens. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody for checking it out. We had Max lurking today, so that's cool. Thank you, Max. We do have coffee for sale. It's that legendary brew. It's a nice, easy drinking medium roast. I finally got mine in. I'm like halfway through the new bag already. It's tasty. It's easy drinking. It's a nice coffee. If you use code LEGENDS10, you're going to get 10% off your order, and shipping is always free. There's a link in the show notes, or you can go to tinyurl.com/legendary brew. The other brews over at Birds of a Feather Coffee are also fantastic. The Night Owl blend is super tasty. That's the only other one I've had, but I'm sure the other ones are good as well. Neil roasts. Neil's still kind of roasting on his own. He has an assistant that has been doing a majority of that while he deals with his situation. Our Patreon is up and running. If you're interested in that, we do early releases and things like that over there. The post shows and all that stuff is up posted up there. So if you have a couple of sesterces you want to throw our way, that would be fantastic. If not, that's cool too. We're going to do this anyway. Check out Golden Goblin Press. There's also a link in the show notes for that. You can get, I think they have the not the Britannia book, the Cthulhu Invictus book back in stock, along with some other cool stuff over there. So please check that out as well. If you enjoy this game, support Oscar and the cool stuff that he does and purchase your stuff over at Golden Goblin. So thanks, everybody, and we'll catch you next time.
All right.
Peace.
Bye.
And the post show. is that kind of the way you thought it was going to drop tonight, Oscar? Or no?
Yeah. I'm glad that it unfolded slowly. I thought that it might be too simplistic. It might be too much of a softball pitch, and that you guys are just. No, but I like that you were. No, I like that you talked to the doctor and figured out, exactly how she contracted it. Because you latched on that she burned herself on a tray. Like, was the tray silver? And I'm like, uh-oh, this is all going off the royals. And then you slowed down. And I'm like, okay, good.
Well,
No, it's good
because
because we had the idea originally of, you know, it was pitched as sorcery, and so there was the kind of slow bleed into, oh, this is lycanthropy, but you never want to completely abandon ship on idea A and jump to idea B in case B is wrong. So.
Right. I was, I didn't want to run when I was running, and I just woke up Monday morning, and I'm like, I can bang out something to at least have an original game, and because it's always more interesting for me to play something new than dig up one of my scenarios that I've already run. So the way the week has been, I just needed to distract myself. So I'm like, all right, I'll write something. I'm not really fond of the title, but I think it works. I'm like, I wanted the thought of doing a werewolf story or a lycanthrope story. I knew I'd eventually write a new werewolf something because Doreena's playing, and that's the thing. But I'm like, to do one that has a twist that's not the same story you've heard. So the whole thought of the hunter, thinking he's hunting a giant boar, and then when he goes to skin it, it turns into a human, and he just loses his mind.
Yeah. And
then I'm thinking, would he still do something with the meat? And I'm like, all right, we've got an adventure. That's horrible. that's horrifying, and that's disgusting.
Right.
So we've got something here. So I just went with that. And again, I like that Doreena was like, look, she may not know what she is or have any control over what's going on. She may be terrified, which is, at the time of the attack, that's where she was.
Mm-hmm.
And the thought that somebody's cursed these serving platters, I have to make sure nobody else gets burned.
Right.
It's just her panic and her confusion.
Yeah.
Of what's going on.
Exactly. I mean, she in her mind probably, like, they all ate the meat. They all got sick, and so the silver must hurt all of them. So she gathered it all up and took it as far away from the family as she could.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I think, like, even though the players all like hard lean into, it's a werewolf or were something, like I don't know that the characters necessarily know that right away, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of same, but like Jesse was saying, you've got to leave multiple options open, like even if you're sort of leaning that way, because the players are kind of feeling that way, but also, like, is that a red herring? And like, it doesn't have anything to do with why she left, and she was just like, "Peace, I'm out."
Right?
Like,
I need some cash.
Yeah. There could be some very human, desires happening. Like in the last scenario.
Right? Yeah.
He was just some crazy old fucking dude who was like, "I can get food and stuff."
Yeah. But I mean, she did beat the shit out of 3 dudes.
Well, when you get to that point, yeah. But like, that's the confirmation between the doctor,
exactly,
and then
I
talking.
was so glad because it seemed like you weren't going to talk to the doctor, and he's the one who says, "Leah, they had food poisoning. She had something else."
Exactly. Yeah.
That's
actually when everyone was making that insight roll. And I thought I missed something because I was actually writing down that we need to talk to the doctor. I was making a point that I took a note of the doctor because we had to talk to him.
I like the way that this all came together. Just watching your expressions, that it was, the slow peel of the eggshell away from the story.
It all came together very well.
Well, I'm glad. Nice to know I still have it in 2021. And this is my 101st scenario, by the way.
That's awesome.
I keep track of them, and I'm like, I can't wait to see what my 100th scenario is going to be. Like, I should have a little party or treat myself to something. And I went to add this title to the list and thinking, when I finish this, I'll have finished 100 scenarios. And fucking Shadow of the Oak was my 100th scenario. This is 101. I totally fucking missed it. And I'm like, oh,
Man, you should have done something with Dalmatians.
what a douche. What a douche I am.
Hey, this is the 101st, right?
This is 101.
So there could be Dalmatians the next time we play.
Oh God, no.
Yeah,
there won't
very
be.
true.
Scenario. Yep.
No.
Yeah.
You know,
What if we
Dalmatia is part
suddenly
of the
travel
Roman
to
Empire.
Dalmatia?
Yeah, Dalmatia is
that
part of the
count?
Roman Empire.
Dalmatia,
Yeah, exactly.
Dalmatia is nowhere near here, by the way. That's like
Yeah.
really far
We take
away.
a boat. We take a boat.
I went there once. I went to Dalmatia. I was on a quest with blah blah blah. So I'll regale you all with tales of Dalmatia next time.
Yeah.
All right.
That's my homeland. That's where Herminius is from.
Yeah, there you
Dalmatia,
go.
yeah. All right, guys. Well, this was a lot of fun. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. By then, I will have written the other half of the scenario.
Hopefully we'll
Well,
also
heck,
be live.
considering that you put this together in 3 days.
Actually, more like
That's-
three. I put this together in like 3 hours on Monday.
I hate you.
Yeah.
Hey, I didn't want to run the thing that I was already going to run. I'm just going to write something else.
Right?
Look, I've got one job. It's stupid, but I'm gonna do it. I swear to God, that scene with Sigourney Weaver is that's me as a writer. It's like, yeah, there's one thing I can do. It's stupid, but I'm gonna do it. I don't know. I guess when you do it as often as I do, it's like you have an idea, you just throw it on. I mean, and honestly, this is not in a publishable form. This is I'm screwing around with my friends kind of writing, which is a really different way of I'm writing this to publish it kind of writing.
True, yeah.
So this is basically, I guess, shorthand writing. For me to bang that 3 hours of work into something usable would be like another 5 hours.
Yeah.
So yeah, these are just I'm writing cliff notes to run for you guys, which is
So the one
Not
good start
bad.
to 2021
Yep.
so far, so it was good.
oh well, that warms my heart in a way you can't imagine. So thank you. That was very.
I mean,
compliment.
not to temper that.
No,
at all,
it's
but
been a shit. It's been a
it's
shit
not-
13 days.
By comparison, yeah, exactly.
Oh yeah. I mean, you weren't here before. I actually I almost killed myself falling in the shower, and then 2 days later, and then 3 days later, I burned my arm on the stove. So I'm having
Oh, jeez.
I'm having a fucking battery here.
Oh.
Oh my god! All right, guys. So,
All right, guys. Yeah.
I gotta get
Oscar,
up
I'm going to be
early.
in touch. I got to place a nice little Golden Goblin order for the store. So
Well, as you can see, we're ready to assist you.
right on. Cool.
All right, talk to you soon.
All right, everyone. All right, yeah, take care.
Have a good night, everyone.
You too. Thanks for watching, everybody. Or
Bye.
listening, I guess, as the case.